Welcome to the Unique in You podcast. My name is Dr. Kayin Robinson, and I'm your host. And this podcast was created because I kept having the same conversation with my friends and family. They were chasing pieces of wellness, but still feeling incomplete and disconnected. If that's you, stay tuned. The idea behind the name, The Unique in You, was that I wanted women to feel empowered. I wanted when they wore the jewelry pieces, I wanted them to feel bold, confident, and unique. I wanted them to embrace the unique in them. Just like the pieces of earrings that I create, no two pieces are exactly the same. And that's just like us. So, what I started to realize with my friends and family, and including myself, was that the reason why we can't show up boldly, confidently, or authentically was because we weren't whole. So, what does that mean when I say we were not whole? We were not practicing holistic health. Holistic health means that we're taking into consideration the whole person. That includes the mind, body, and soul. And if we're not doing things to better each of those aspects, then that can cause an imbalance. And that can cause us to be burnt out. That can cause us to feel incomplete and disconnected. And what I found was that a lot of my peers, including myself, was focusing on one aspect of health and wellness. So instead of looking at the mind, body, and soul and making sure that we are healthy in all three of those components, we were focusing on fragments of it. For example, when I was in school and I thought about health and wellness and if I'm healthy, a lot of times I tended to focus on just my physical health. I often told myself I'm working out 3 to 4 times out of the week. I'm exercising my mind with my studies, and I thought I was healthy. But that was so far from the truth. I wasn't getting adequate sleep. I wasn't regulating my stress. I wasn't mentally healthy. I didn't know who I was. I was weak in my faith. So, all these components, because I was overcompensating or only focusing on one aspect of health and negating the others, I didn't feel whole. I didn't feel complete. And there was a disconnect. And what that means was there were other aspects of health that I was ignoring. And it wasn't until later that I realized that I needed to make sure I had adequate sleep, adequate rest. I needed to make sure I could manage my emotions, stress. I needed to make sure that I knew what my value system was. I was practicing my faith and spirituality in order for me to feel complete. And that's something that is really dear and near to me because once I started to do those things, I felt the shift. I felt more complete. I was happier. I was living more abundantly. And that's what I want to share here. So, what we're going to focus on this podcast is making sure that there's a balance between the mind, body, and soul. And we're going to think of it as a triangle and how there's 3 angles in a triangle. Each component has the mind, body, and soul. It wasn't until about 2 months ago when God revealed to me or dropped in my spirit that I needed to start a podcast. And if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a very private person. I don't like to talk about myself. I don't even want people to know what I ate for breakfast. That's how private I am. And this would really require me to step outside of my comfort zone. But I gave God my yes. And I remember when I was in prayer about it and I was asking him, what is the podcast going to be about? And what is the name going to be? And he later revealed to me that I already have the name and he was referring to my jewelry business, The Unique in You. And that is the platform that he wanted me to use to share my story. So, what we're going to be focusing on is your voice, your story, and your growth. But we're also going to focus on holistic health. And we're going to make sure that we're healthy with our mind, body, and soul, and not just one or two of those things, but all three. So I want to share a little bit about myself. My name is Dr. Kayin Robinson. I have a PhD in public health from the University of Georgia. I want to make this disclaimer that I am not a medical doctor. I do not practice in a clinic and I do not treat patients. And what we share here should not be used as a replacement for what your provider has already given you. I do, however, have over 10 years of experience practicing in the population health sector. That means adding to the body of literature. I have lived through different stories. I'm excited to share my experience here. I do believe that I have a very unique perspective, and I want to make sure that we're being honest, and I want to be transparent with you guys, and you're going to see me transform, and I hope you grow with me as well. My professional background is going to help shape how I approach certain topics. And I'm going to try my best not to make it too technical or too content heavy, but I want it to be lighthearted. I will be sharing some evidence-based research to support what we discuss here. But I also want to make sure that I share my personal experiences and my journey along the way. I do believe a lot of times we learn better that way. And I would prefer for people to learn from my past mistakes or things that I've learned on the way so that they don't have to. And also, because I am a Christian, I will be providing a Christian-based approach to a lot of the topics that we discuss. And as the podcast grows, I do plan to invite other guests to join in the conversations and share their experiences as well as their expertise on the topic as well. So I'm excited. I have some really dope friends and peers, and I'm excited to invite them to be a part of this platform as well. So this is a bi-weekly podcast, meaning that I'll be posting every 2 weeks, and I'm just so excited that you chose to join here. So what makes this podcast different or unique compared to other podcasts that are out there? So this podcast is going to be evidence-based to support our topics. It's also going to be coming from a Christian-based approach. And then we're also going to be able to walk away with applicable things that we can do along the week. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that we have food for thought. I want to make sure that we're growing together. I'm a girl, and I want you guys to grow with me as well. I can't wait to look back on this podcast a year from now and see the growth that we have made together. And even if this podcast only touches one soul, I have done my job, and that would just make me so happy. So another thing that makes this podcast unique is that each episode I will be featuring one pair of earrings. And today I had these gold pairs on that I created. These are all handmade earrings designed by myself. And these were inspired by the launchment of the podcast. And they remind me of a ball drop celebrating New Year's. And I wanted something festive. So these particular earrings come in 3 colors: gold, silver, and purple. And if you're interested, you can visit my website at www.theuniqueinyou.com. So I want to take the time to thank you so much for tuning in to the very first episode. If something sparked in you, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you're alerted of upcoming postings and videos. And I will see you soon. And remember, embrace the unique in you. Until next time.